Hi everybody, this is Larissa and Igor again with Atomic Car Review Team.
Today we're reviewing 2016 Jeep Cherokee limited edition with 2.4 liter engine.
So guys, in our reviews we're not going to talk much about how the car looks and drives. We're going to concentrate on the maintenance cost, part cost and the problems that can occur once you become an owner.
After Fiat bought Chrysler, Jeep and other brands under Chrysler trademark, I think everything started to be better. I can tell the same about even Ford brand. Maybe last crisis really pushed them to do like hard work and rise his productions and quality, and this is the same story. This car really start to be better. It's totally new design with new features, with new drivability.
I drove this car today on my way back home, and I can tell you that it has much more features and different things on the dashboard than my car. I own Dodge Durango 2011, so I can see the huge progress with the technology in this car.
A couple years ago, when I thought to buy brand new car, this car was on my list. Why? Because I think it's one of the SUV in this class who really provide you really luxury feeling. If you compare this car with other SUV, I'm not gonna talk about Mercedes, Audi or BMW, they definitely feels more luxury. But compared to decent price, it's something like Honda, Toyota, this car really feels much more expensive. And again, for example, if you even jump to Maserati, which is even more expensive brand than Mercedes or Audi, you will find that a lot of stuff from this car. Interior texture, interior button, interior display will be totally the same and built by Chrysler. If you're going to choose this Jeep, you have two options. You can buy as this one 2.4 liter engine with 4-cylinder or more powerful 3.2 liter engine with 6-cylinder. This car have almost from a manufacturer problem with thermostat, which is from my experience very common problem for all Chrysler brand. You don't have to be very scared about this problem. Yeah, it gives you check engine light on and maybe something wrong with your gauges, but since got thermostat usually stuck in open position, it's never give you overheat problem. If you choose 6-cylinder engine, I would say it's more smarter choice, because Chrysler never was a very high quality brand, but from his history, if you talk to any mechanic, they said that 6-cylinder engine on a Chrysler, Jeep or any other brand which uses engine, it's the most reliable engine. As you can see, engine is pretty simple, and I would say it's easy to do regular maintenance by yourself. I on purpose remove this cover, and you see all coils, spark plugs on the top, and easy to replace it even by yourself. All that you need is just check what kind spark plug has misfire and replace it by yourself. I would say it take you maybe 15 minutes to replace one spark plug. Also, as I told you, that Chrysler really increased his quality. Why I mean this? Because as you can see under the hood, it's usually provided only by high performance or more expensive brands. For example, they put cover on a battery, which is keeps this battery warm. You see a lot of soft stuff under the hood, which is reduce noise level, and hood, you see, it's plastic, it's reduce your weight, and if more lighter parts on the top, it's increase your handling, because if car has biggest amount of weight on the bottom, this means car has much better handling. Okay guys, right now we're under our 2016 Jeep Cherokee, and right now I would like to show you what I mean about quality and how car looks under the knees after 32,000 miles. About why I told you that this car looks more expensive than before, it's a lot of shield, mud shield and other stuff under the car. You see a lot of aluminum parts, which is usually have only more expensive cars. Paint quality, I think it's also right now one of the best from whole American manufacturer. Even a hood, if you compare this hood, plastic hood, with other brands, for example as a Ford, I would say if you go even closer to any Ford Explorer and see how looks his hood or here on the bottom, you will see that paint start to peel off, because they really start to provide aluminum hood, plastic hood, a lot of modern material to build his car, but paint not the best one right now. On this car it's definitely better. Compared to German car, this American car, Jeep, has almost the same features as other German brands. For example, very fancy stuff which I never saw before on American car. It's a heater of your wipers, which really help you to let your wipers be free during the winter time. We will check this engine additionally tomorrow on the lift, but what I can tell you from my experience, because we do service for a lot of transportation company which use Chrysler and Jeep brands, and they usually use 6-cylinder engine. With 6-cylinder engine you usually never have any problem unless two problems. A lot of customers complain about some weird noise, I would say after 100,000 miles, but don't really worry about it. Yes, it's a noise, but you can drive it. Why you hear this noise? Usually it's a valve lifters. It's fine. I would say it's most of the car have it after some amount of mileage, but it's never dangerous. I have some experience with ignition coils on 6-cylinder engine, and sometimes I have to replace them very soon, and most of the time I don't know why it's happened on front of the engine. How I can explain this? Because on front of the engine they put the same kind of material like here, some soft material as a peel-off, and I believe this material increase temperature next to these coils. That's why sometimes you could have something like a cylinder misfire on the front of the engine with 6-cylinder engine. Also, I would like to tell you how easy this car to maintain. Usually if you need to do oil change, you have to replace all this mud shield under the car, but on a Jeep you see they have special door for oil filter or drain plug. It's much easier. You don't have to take all this stuff out. You can do this on your driveway if you can. It's much easier. This car has a really small drain plug, which is just 13mm. Please don't use two like this. Don't use it. Use or this side, or maybe two like this. Because if you're gonna destroy your drain plug, you're not gonna do this again. You're supposed to replace drain plug, or if you over tight, also never over tight. If you over tight, you will destroy your drain oil pan. Just easy. Everything's supposed to be easy, little bit. They put gasket over here, not without any reason. They just to hold it your oil. Just tight little bit, and that's it. As you can see, car looks pretty dry. No any leaks. Like, it's pretty good material. You see this material under the car. Some car manufacturer do this from plastic. This one do this from soft material. Everything covered by plastic shield, which is again reduce your noise. Rest is car underneath looks totally fine. It's no problem. Everything fine. Guys, about brakes. Owner of this car complained about brakes, that sometimes she's supposed to press brake all the way down to the floor to increase brake power. It's usually happen when you do not drive car much. If you are not drive your car much, usually brake rotors on your car start to be covered by rust, and this rust work as a butter between your brake pad and brake rotors. It's the same story happen with this car. This car is usually most heaviest one. Why is this heaviest? Because if you compare how many noise reducers material and other stuff under this car, it's much more than under your Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4. That's why this car feels more expensive, because it's more quiet, it's more puffy, but again it reduces your brake power. Okay guys, right now I would like to show you the problem with any Jeeps, Chrysler or other Chrysler brands. It's a brake rotors. It's how they look. You see, you start to even lose some metal over here, but it's just 30,000 miles on it. That's why you feel sometimes your brake is very soft. Usually I saw some kind of this brake rotors only if this brake rotor is built by some Chinese manufacturer. But I think Chrysler or Jeeps wanna save some money and put not the best metal. Guys, if you are a short destination driver and sometimes you use, for example, car just one times per week, I would recommend it for you put original brake rotors, or at least very expensive. Some of them you can even find like zinc coated, but again, you're supposed to be very careful. They usually put just zinc on the top of the rotor, but still use the same cheap Chinese metal. And what I can tell about Chrysler or Jeep or any other Chrysler brand, they didn't use the best quality of brakes, and most of the time you have to replace the rotors earlier than on, for example, on other car, because this, I mean, his rotor, Jeep rotors usually start to be burned out a little bit earlier than even you need to replace brake pads. Guys, today is really hot day, and even our camera stopped to work a couple minutes ago, and this really reminded me one thing which I would like to tell you. If you have a nice car like this one with automatic climate control, with other automatic features, use it. Make your life better and easier. I think a lot of you have experience when they sit inside some car, some of your friends' car or other people cars, and it smells like pee from dashboard. Guys, that's a mold. If you don't want to have this smell from your dashboard, really use as much as possible automatic climate control, I mean auto button. Don't use this maximum cold when you get cold with recirculation button and then you feel colder and turn it off. That's a way how you collect mold inside your AC unit. If you don't have it automatic AC, guys, use recirculation mode only in case if you really need to cool down your AC very fast and then turn it off, because when you close your air inside the car, it's accumulate mode inside AC unit. Maintenance cost is pretty the same as on any other Japanese brand or cheap one European brand, because it's not a Mercedes, it's not a German, like real German car. Brakes it will cost you the same money as on Honda, maybe rotors and brake pads around $350, $300, and depends on the brand. Tires will be maybe a little bit more expensive than on Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4, but only on a cheap version. If you're gonna choose your, for example, RAV4 Sport or some fancy CR-V, it will have this totally the same size of tires, which will cost you more money. Guys, do you know what I like it all about this car? It's the same as on Dodge Dart. They have really nice features, I think, for Russian drivers. Your wife will never find that where you sneak your vodka. Guys, rear seat really nice. It's pretty soft, hold you well on the seat, but you know, it's, for me it's look very weird why they decide to do this, because usually on each car, if you can adjust a second row, you have or normal amount of space or more space. Over here you have less or even less. I think this car for dog lovers. And guys, no space for vodka on the rear seat. Nothing. Guys, I don't know why Chrysler do this, I don't know why some branded do this, but I think any brand has some point where they really want to save money. Chrysler, it's your leg rest. Look at this. If you want to buy something like light interior car from Chrysler, from Jeep, really buy this kind of carpet. Look at this. The same story. Nothing for your leg rest. Could you imagine how dirty it's gonna be if you're gonna use it just regular fancy carpet? It's gonna be dirty. Guys, if you complain about car, just jump inside the Maserati. You will see the same buttons, the same dashboard, but with Maserati emblem. You will see, yeah, I drive a cool car. Okay, right now we're gonna test how this car drives and what other people could complain, or maybe what they're gonna like it. Especially we will check brakes, because owner complain about it. Let's see. Yeah, 4-cylinder, that's a lot of power. But again, guys, it's a heavier car. Do not expect something that will be like a rocket, but I definitely would recommend for this car, because it's more heavier than comparatives, Japanese comparatives. I would say maybe it's needed 6-cylinder. But again, guys, you have an option. Do you have option on your Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V or what else they have it? 6-cylinder engine? No, which is even good. Think about this. You have options. Steering wheel, I think it's more German style. It's more solid than Japanese and feel more heavier. Brake is fine, totally fine. I believe the owner just don't use this car much. I think all rust between brake pads and rotors will gone. Just drive your cars. Once per week, take it for a ride. Especially if you put some cheap Chinese rotors. Acceleration is normal, but again guys, if you're gonna choose 6-cylinder engine, as I remember, 6-cylinder engine make 60 from 0 to 60 for 5.5 seconds, which is really good. I think not so many comparatives you can find it with this acceleration. Maybe Acura RDX or some German car, but again, most of them will be much more expensive. Guys, if you are thinking to buy Jeep Cherokee, I would say I'm not gonna tell you any secret. Bring this car to mechanic and first of all check the transmission, because transmission built by ZF, which is one of the biggest brand on the market for transmission, but not the most reliable. Another thing, check brakes if they are good, because usually this brand has problem with rust on the rotors. And also for 6-cylinder engine, check if any noise from engine as lifters for valves or misfire with ignition coil. I would say the rest of the car is totally fine and you can buy it without any problem.